Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the incredibly high-stakes, post-apocalyptic universe of Arc Raiders. Specifically, we're unpacking a really phenomenal story called The Signal That Remembers. Now, if you're into narratives where raw human psychology absolutely collides with terrifying, unknown technology, well, you are in for a treat, because we're exploring a story that isn't just about dodging laser fire from massive machines. No, it's this profound journey into survival, paralyzing grief, and these mysterious, seemingly impossible connections. Let's get right into it. Muddy, find the source. I mean, just imagine hearing that whispered through the static of your headset. It's not some generic distress call. It's your own name spoken by someone who absolutely shouldn't exist anymore. Talk about a hook, right? It plunges us directly into the fractured psychological state of our protagonist, a raider named Muddy, and it perfectly sets up the central mystery of our explainer today. I mean, what do you even do when the broken technology of a ruined world starts speaking directly into your mind? All right, let's set the scene with Section 1, A World in Ruins. Just look at the sheer scale of that relentless ARC machine hunting a lone survivor. Going topside in this universe is a total sensory overload of danger. The skies are this washed-out, bruising gray. The wind has a really sharp, icy bite to it, and the air is just constantly carrying the smell of rust, old rain, and burnt circuitry. It is a completely desolate, fractured landscape where human beings are literally at the very bottom of the food chain. So, you gotta wonder, why would anyone willingly go up to that nightmare of a surface? Well, because the alternative is Speranza. The underground human settlement is safe, technically, but it's this claustrophobic, damp cage with incredibly thick, recycled air and just a palpable sense of hopelessness. Muddy constantly chooses the deadly freedom, that sharp ozone scent, and the open skies of the topside ruins over the suffocating containment of Speranza. Up there, the world might be actively trying to kill him, but at least it actually feels alive. Which brings us to Section 2. The machine threat. Here is where things get really weird. The crucial point here is that the machines are no longer acting like mindless patrol drones. As our story unfolds, they begin to exhibit some incredibly erratic and terrifyingly unpredictable behaviors. They start shifting away from their standard routes. They converge entirely out of nowhere on specific, seemingly random sectors. Their sensor arrays, which are usually this harsh scanning glare, actually begin glowing with a soft, pulsing blue light. And honestly, the most shocking part? They start exhibiting sudden hesitation. At one point, Muddy watches a massive killing machine simply stop, listen, and turn away. It's exactly as if they're reacting to some mysterious, invisible signal. And this brings us to a really chilling realization about the atmosphere topsides. Because silence in this world is never empty. It's a reminder, a warning, a promise. Surviving up here relies completely on your ability to interpret that deadly silence. There's this constant humming tension in the air. So when the machines deviate from their patterns, the silence that follows isn't peaceful at all. It's the breathless quiet right before a strike. And that tension perfectly mirrors Section 3, Muddy's internal struggle. See, Muddy isn't just running topside for supplies. He is running to escape. He is carrying an absolute crushing weight of survivor's guilt. We learn that if he stays underground in Speranza for too long, the walls literally start to close in and he's forced to face his profound grief. He keeps taking on these highly dangerous missions because the pure adrenaline and the immediate threat of death topside are literally the only things loud enough to drown out the ghosts of his past. Which leads us directly into Section 4, the ghost of Urban. Just listen to this quote from Urban. Rules were for people who wanted to live forever. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about her, right? It starkly contrasts Muddy's grim, heavy seriousness with her incredibly carefree, unafraid worldview. She was the kind of person who could find a bottle of real wine in a collapsed cellar and just laugh in the face of the apocalypse. She felt like a living, breathing, untamable spark in an otherwise totally dead world. And obviously that makes losing her all the more devastating. The true source of Muddy's crushing guilt is the haunting memory of her final moments. Urban sacrificed herself. She physically pushed Muddy out of the path of an ARC machine's deadly strike, taking the hit herself. And the one detail that haunts Muddy the absolute most, the memory of the day he ran and she didn't. So this is where our two narrative threads come crashing together. On one hand, we have Muddy, completely consumed by grief for Urban. On the other, we have these shifting, erratic machines. And the bridge between them, that mysterious signal? Why did a piece of broken arc technology, a mere signal fragment,
Whisper Muddy's name in Urban's voice? What does the signal actually want with him?
Let's dive into Section 5, the call of the signal. Muddy manages to find an ARC signal anchor fragment. But here's the catch. It doesn't just broadcast radio waves. It broadcasts directly into his mind. Try to imagine the sensory pressure of that. A static hiss physically pressing against the inside of your skull. And then the chilling realization that it is actually using Urban's voice, mimicking his dead partner, to pull him forward. It's guiding him out into the absolute most dangerous, forbidden parts of the ruins. 3 short bursts. It's not random interference, it's highly intentional. It acts almost like a heartbeat, pulsing in Muddy's ear, accelerating his journey, drawing him out of the safety of the shadows and deep into the unknown northern ruins.
2 long bursts. The tension is incredibly high now. Muddy discovers there are multiple fragments out there, and as he brings them together, the static actually grows from a whisper into a total roar. And the machines all around him? They're no longer hunting. They are just watching, waiting. All while he reaches this massive, buried ancient tower.
This is it, the absolute peak. Muddy, who is now accompanied by a really sharp, instinctual scavenger named Wiz, finally steps into the light of this ancient, breathing tower. He places the aligned fragments right into the tower's core, and suddenly the static just becomes a single, perfectly clear, ancient tone. The tower awakens, shooting a massive pulse of light straight into the fractured sky. And then, the breathtaking climax. All across the ruined city, the massive, terrifying ARC machines simply stop. And they kneel. Muddy realizes the profound truth here. The signal was never a weapon. It's a bridge. It connects the machines to a time before the fall, a memory of a time when humans and machines actually coexisted. It's the exact connection that Urban herself had discovered and tried to make right before she died. The signal didn't just call Muddy, it remembered him, choosing him to finish what she started. So, with the tower awakened, the fragments spent, and these massive machines kneeling in the dust, what happens when a broken world finally begins to remember? It completely recontextualizes the entire Arc Raiders universe, doesn't it? Showing us that beneath all the rust and the violence, there is this profoundly deep connection between memory, grief, and ultimately, hope. I really hope this deep dive gave you a totally new perspective on this incredible story. Thanks so much for joining me on today's Explainer, and hey, keep your ears open to the static.